Showcased on the show is a rug that embodies the secrets of ancient weaving. The piece was purchased by this guest from a female friend.
So I made her an offer of $1,000 for about 18 Oriental rugs.
And it was made by the Yomut tribe, featuring a form called Osmalik. It is a camel trapping, often utilized for ceremonial purposes. This piece was woven in the late 19th century.
Some of the qualities that make it an Osmalik, the main is the fact that it's coming to a point at the top, and the fact that it has these very decorative tassels at the bottom. And the colors in the tassels actually represent almost every color that is in the piece itself.
The rug boasts decorative tassels at the bottom, and another intriguing feature is the red dye, which was rare at the time this piece was made. Additionally, aside from the red color, there is a range of other colors on the item, which really gives it a distinctive look. At auction, given the quality and rich history of this rug, it would be valued at...
This piece has a value of $5,000.
I think that's wonderful. I just love what you're telling me.
The guest had brought Bakelite items, an early form of plastic known as phenylformaldehyde. The appraiser noted that antiques are generally not associated with plastics, highlighting the uniqueness of the guest's collection. The appraiser explained that Bakelite, patented by L. H. Baekeland in 1908, is quintessential to the Art Deco style. L. H. Baekeland was founded by a chemist, Leo Baekeland, who invented photographic paper and Bakelite. The three purses brought by the guest were excellent examples, with typical prices ranging from...
Purses like this run for between about $500 to about $1,000 to about $1,500.
The conversation then shifted to a Bakelite bracelet the guest had acquired from Mrs. Bart, a neighbor of her parents. After Mrs. Bart passed away, her relatives cleared out her belongings, and the guest's mother was invited to take anything left behind. She chose the bracelet and later passed it on to her daughter. The appraiser identified the bracelet as a classic Bakelite design known as the Philadelphia bracelet, estimating its value conservatively between...
It's worth between $6,000 and $8,000.
No way!
Let's reveal these vintage boxing cards discovered for free in a rental unit about 20 years ago.
They were basically abandoned.
Yeah.
Then to your possession.
Yeah, right.
Well, what we have here are 4 beautiful examples of early 1900s.
There are 4 postcards featuring 3 different boxers. Top 2 feature Jack Johnson, the first African-American world champion in 1908. Next is Peter Jackson, the Australian champion. Lastly, we have Jim Jeffries, an American world champion. In 1910, Jeffries came out of retirement to fight Jack Johnson and was defeated in 15 rounds. Peter Jackson fought James Corbett in 1891, a match that was stopped in the 61st round with no winner. Postcards date from around 1908 to 1912. Jack Johnson postcard could sell
for $1,000 to $1,500 for that one alone.
Other Jack Johnson card is worth
$500 for that one.
Peter Jackson's card could fetch $500, and Jim Jeffries' card could fetch
$300 to $500.
The value of the whole collection is estimated to be between $2,300 and $3,000. This set of Kiowa archives whisper tales of its rich history. The guest inherited these pieces from her grandmother.
A gentleman, he and his brother owned an Indian store and did trading with the Indians and with the Anadarkans at that about 1890 to about 1910.
This collection includes a green boot that dates to the 1870s and numerous photographs. One of the photographs depicts Kiowa's Indian Territory, Oklahoma. Another photograph shows a Kiowa baby in a cradle, a photograph taken by W.L. Sawyer. The most notable photograph in the collection is the tintype, which was hand-painted and a little bit earlier than the others.
What's particularly special, we have Mr. and Mrs. Tohasan, Kiowa Indians. Rare to have the name of a Native American.
Given that this collection is a rare and valuable depiction of Kiowa's cultural history, it would sell for...
I think A retail value on that tintype might be about $5,500, $6,500.
Wow.
The guest presented a unique skeletonized watch that he had inherited from his great aunt many years ago with a promise never to sell it. As a result, it had been kept securely in a safety deposit box, untouched. The appraiser explained that the watch was fully skeletonized, allowed light to pass through it completely. It featured serpentine hands on the front and was a key wind watch, winding and setting from the back with a key. It was signed by Haas, the famous watch company, and the appraiser believed it to be an exhibition piece made for the Paris Exposition of 1867 to showcase craftsmanship and skills. The watch was made in Chaux-de-Fonds, Switzerland, and likely dated around 1865. The appraiser demonstrated the light passing through the skeletonized watch and estimated its auction value to be between,
I think you could expect to realize between $10,000 to $12,000 for it at auction.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The guests brought an Asian guitar used for ceremonial teas found in their Detroit home when they moved there in 1964. It was identified as a late 19th century Chinese sanshin, a 3-stringed instrument used in tea ceremonies and banquets. The instrument featured a snake skin on the soundboard. It also featured a rosewood veneer and a tropical hardwood neck. The fingerboard was inlaid with a vase, floral sprigs, and a fu or shu bat surmount. The tightening rods had stylized lotus leaves and pods. The guitar showed some signs of aging, including chips, losses, and humidity-related cracking. The guitar's history, functionality, and intricate details make it a unique and valuable instrument, being estimated at
would be between $3,000 and $5,000. And an appropriate insurance value would probably be about $7,500.
Okay. Wow.
The guest inherited 2 dresses that had been passed down through the generations of women in her family. The dresses were believed to have been made by the guest's great-great-aunt and her sister in the mid-1800s, possibly the 1880s. The blue dress was made of cotton from England with a block print design dating back to the late 1830s. It was 2-piece with hand gathering on the edge, and the print was reminiscent of Indian prints with paisleys and floral motifs. The appraiser estimated the blue dress would sell at
for between $1,500 and $2,200.
Wow.
The blue is just, it zaps you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The second dress was made of wool challis and was printed, but had condition issues, including holes and damage from wool moths. The dress had metal buttons that were originally covered in purple fabric, which was now mostly gone. The appraiser estimated the second dress at The guest inherited 3 etchings by Edward Borean from her father-in-law, who owned a ranch in Santa Barbara in the 1930s and 1940s. Edward Borean was a self-taught artist born in 1872 near San Francisco, who dreamed of being a cowboy but became a prolific sketcher. He moved to New York in 1907 to advance his illustration career, but could never fit in on the East Coast and returned to California in 1921, where he lived until his death in 1945. During his time in Santa Barbara, he created most of his etchings, which are highly evocative Western scenes. The etchings were signed in pencil and feature scenes like a stagecoach racing down a hill and cowboys outside a cantina. Edward Borean's etchings were rare and valuable, especially since he was the only prominent Western artist to create etchings. The etchings were a wonderful representation of the West in the 1920s and 1930s, making them highly valuable and sought after. The appraiser recommended cleaning the etchings to increase their value, being estimated at
So this one, in sort of perfect condition as I can see it in the frame, at auction, that's going to bring around $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
This one closest to you, the Stagecoach, is a lesser subject, a smaller, not so Western, not as interesting. Be about $1,000 to $1,200 at auction. And with the staining is probably on order of about $2,000 to $2,500.
A guest described how she bought an elegant silver urn at a thrift shop in Kansas City for $5.99. It was identified as an English silver urn resembling an upturned bell. The item was made in 1826 by Benjamin Preston during the George IV period. The appraiser explained the various hallmarks on the urn, indicating its authentication and origin. The duty mark showed that a tax was paid to the crown, while the date letter L signified it was made in 1826. Additionally, there was a leopard's head indicating it was crafted in London and a guarantee mark. The maker's mark, BP, stood for Benjamin Preston, who crafted the piece. The urn featured acanthus scroll handles, a lobed body, and a circular foot. The classic piece of English silver making was valued at,
I would estimate it to sell for between $1,500 and $2,000.
That's really great.
The guest presented a cabinet from her father's collection of antique American furniture. The item, identified as a mid-18th century spice chest, hailed from Philadelphia between 1725 and 1760. This chest served to safeguard valuable spices imported through Philadelphia's port. The chest featured a molded top, arched paneled doors marked out with a compass, and carved inset panels. Although the piece had its original finish, a water stain had dissolved some of it. At its base, the chest boasted cove molding and authentic William and Mary ball feet. The appraiser noted a loose door requiring minor repair. Taking into account its condition, the appraised value amounted to
about $40,000 to $60,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
40 to 60.
That's quite nice.
So you're happy?
I'm very happy.
The guest acquired a sterling silver punch bowl while helping a friend clean out his attic. Purchasing it for $4,000, he realized it was a 20-year-old piece. Upon examination, the appraiser confirmed the punch bowl's origin as Philadelphia, dating back to 1904. It was crafted by the renowned Philadelphia retailer Caldwell, whose pieces are highly prized. The punch bowl featured an engraved yacht, the Giraldo, within a classic cartouche adorned with flowers. Accompanying the bowl was a ladle crafted by Dominic and Half in New York. Noteworthy details included a rope motif and sea monster faces on the circular foot. The appraiser highlighted the significance of the inscription, dedicating the bowl to Commodore Abraham L. English in 1904.
And we can see above his name in gold, and this is solid gold, his initials written there as well. And I think that's another element to this, which really adds a bit of value to it.
Considering the market demand for maritime memorabilia, the appraised value was
be sold for around $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow. Okay.
He acquired it at a watch show in Cleveland during the late 70s. The engraved feathers, known as the Prince of Wales feathers, the emblem of the Prince of Wales. Turning the watch over reveals an inscription. Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, gifted it to an American sea captain during their 1860 U.S. tour. This watch transforms from covered to open-faced by revolving inside the case. This watch has a multicolor monogram and reveals a repeater function when opened. At the top near noon is a calendar dial displaying every month of the year for 4 years. The last watch, near noon, there's a winding indicator, and flipping the watch over shows the cutaway back of the case. It's an Elgin Model 8, an 18-size watch that's been skeletonized. In awe of its historic significance and impeccable craftsmanship, the appraiser valued the first watch.
I would say this is a watch worth in excess of $15,000.
And valued the last watch.
$1,500. But with this kind of work on it, could again be worth twice that.
Very surprised.
Tibetan tankas are more than mere artworks. They're windows into ancient spirituality and cultural heritage. A guest brought in what they believed to be a Tibetan tanka, possibly from a monastery, admitting limited knowledge about it. Upon examination, the appraiser confirmed it as a tanka, a type of scroll painting often adorned with silk covers. This particular one depicted the Goddess of Mercy, whose multiple heads symbolized heightened compassion. The appraiser pointed out the figures of wrathful divinities at the bottom, explaining their representation of ego-dispelling rather than violence or fear. They also highlighted the parasol as a symbol of nobility and compassion. The tanka's construction involved geometric forms beneath the paint, with the eyes added last to consecrate the image. Identified as originating from eastern Tibet and estimated to date back to around 1750, the tanka showed characteristic pink clouds indicative of its era. In recognition of the Tibetan tanka's condition, the appraiser said,
"And it's worth about $3,000.
Wow.
This one here.
Great.
I heard you.
Discovering antique possessions is like opening a time capsule, each item holding a story from the past waiting to be unveiled. During the appraisal, the person checking the items, living near Anfield Stadium, was really impressed by the collection. The appraiser thought it was like a summary of football history from the 1900s. The guest talked about her great-grandfather, Ned Little, who played and worked in football, and how they found these things while cleaning a family member's house. The appraiser found a photo of Little wearing a bowler hat, and they talked about his long involvement in football. They found a cool picture of the great-grandfather with Queen's Park Rangers. He's in the middle, wearing a bowler hat like those guys from Peaky Blinders. He started playing when football was just becoming popular. Back then, players had big mustaches and wore really loose shorts. They also found an old football contract from when Little played for Arsenal in 1914. The appraiser thought it was super rare and important, saying it should absolutely belong in a museum so everyone could see and learn about Little's football story. While examining the possessions, the appraiser said,
That's a hard one.
Right.
That's got to be in a museum. That could be worth £800 to £1,000 in auction. On the table here today is £2,500.
Right, yes, I'll
But thanks ever so much for bringing them along. It's
thank
great
you.
fun, thank you.
Thank you.
Prendergast's color monotone not only captures Boston's vibrancy with pristine but also unique artistry. The guests shared that a painting had been in their family since they were born, displayed on their wall every day of their life. The guest family originally hails from New Jersey, and their mother, while not a collector, was an art enthusiast. The appraiser had to remove it from its frame for a closer examination. The painting turned out to be a monotype by Maurice Prendergast, identifiable by his initials MBP. A monotype is a unique print created by applying colors to a copper plate and printing it through an intaglio press, typically producing one print. Prendergast, a Boston artist, studied locally in the 1860s through 1880s, learned printmaking in Paris in the 1890s, and then created watercolors and monotypes of Boston scenes upon his return. This particular piece depicts a Boston storefront at night, likely dating to around 1895. Despite being glued to the mat, which slightly affects its condition and value, the piece is otherwise in very good condition with near pristine colors. While examining the piece, the appraiser said,
I would estimate it at $60,000 to $90,000.
Wow.
The guest found a painting in the attic of his late wife's grandfather's house. It was made by the renowned American artist Willard Leroy Metcalf. The appraiser provided background on Metcalf, highlighting him as one of the leading American Impressionist painters.
In 1898, he became part of a group called the Ten. And this was composed of 10 Impressionist painters, including William Merritt Chase, Frank Benson, Edmund Tarbell, and the other premier Impressionist painter, John Twachtman.
The artist was best known for his landscape paintings, which earned him significant acclaim. Around 1901, Metcalf's struggle with depression had an impact on his work, prompting shifts in his painting style. The piece featured pastel colors, visible canvas, and a feathery brush technique. The appraiser noted the title on the back of the stretcher that said, Reflections of Spring. Regarding its condition, the painting had some yellowing varnish and paint losses that could be restored. The highly collectible item with its original frame surprised the guests with its worth.
A painting like this on the retail market would generally sell for $150,000.
Antique pieces offer a glimpse into history, combining craftsmanship and timeless beauty. A guest shared that their great-aunt, a longtime school teacher, used to collect items from around the world which she displayed in her apartment. The guest admired these collectibles and was given one by their great-aunt, which they cherish. The appraiser confirmed it is an Austrian bronze piece made in Vienna by Franz Bergmann, identifiable by a distinctive B within a stylized vase mark. This piece, described as the Cadillac of Austrian cold-painted bronzes, is notably large and functions as a lamp. When it is plugged in, it emits a glowing light. Bergmann specialized in exotic themes, often creating smaller scenes like rug sellers under palm trees or little oases. In this case, he went all out, crafting an enormous mosque. It was designed from the beginning to be a lamp, often referred to as a boudoir lamp due to its intimate glow. While estimating the worth of the piece, the appraiser said,
"As an auction estimate, I would say $15,000 to $20,000. So,
really?
It's a good thing."
Our guest found the painting next to a dumpster in an alley and felt drawn to it, deciding to rescue it. The painting is by the Italian artist Giuseppe Palizzi, born in 1812 and died in Paris in 1888. Despite some scratches and signs of neglect, our guest was attracted to the subject matter of the painting. This painting depicts a charming scene showcasing Palizzi's skill and attention to detail. The appraiser noted that the scratches and wear on the painting likely occurred due to its rough treatment. Despite its condition, the painting retains its beauty and historical value. The appraiser estimates that the painting could easily fetch at
fairly safely, it should fetch around about $3,000 to $5,000 or so.
Nice. This find illustrates the unpredictable nature of discovering valuable art in unexpected places, adding to the painting's allure and story. Our guest received the painting as a gift from a prominent doctor and his wife 30 years ago. They did not inquire about the painting's origin at the time. The painting is by the 19th century French artist Joseph Bernard and is a fine example of the late 19th century style.
That was prompted by the discoveries in Pompeii and Herculaneum.
This painting reflects the Victorian mindset more than it does the classical Greeks and Romans, with the Victorians projecting their own thoughts and styles onto the ancient period. The painting features a young woman adorned in flowers and antique revival jewelry, with a snake adding to the romanticized portrayal of the ancient world. Our guest finds the painting captivating, noting that the figure's skin seems warm to look at. The appraiser estimates the painting's value to be at
I would be estimating at between $10,000 and $15,000. It stays on the wall.
Our guest owns a collection of Cormac McCarthy's Western works, including the Border Trilogy, all signed to the guest by McCarthy himself. McCarthy and the guest were friends in Knoxville, Tennessee, and reconnected in El Paso, Texas.
And he moved out west in the late 70s, and I moved out west, coincidentally, in the early 80s.
McCarthy, known for not signing books, willingly signed all of these to the guest, as he is loyal to all his friends. Each book is a first edition with a signature similar to the one shown on El Paso, and
every one of these is a first edition, which is great. They're all signed similar to the one we showed.
Blood Meridian is the most valuable in the collection, estimated at around $7,500. The trilogy books are valued at around $2,500 each, and No Country for Old Men, being more recent and common, is valued at around $1,000. The entire collection is conservatively estimated to be worth,
you have a collection here, I'd even say $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow, okay.
Our guest has a silver spoon that belongs to her mother, who doesn't remember where she acquired it, possibly from an antique store or a show. Initially thought to be a sauce spoon, the guest estimated its age to be from the late 1800s. The appraiser reveals that the spoon is actually about 600 years old.
It dates from the 1380s, probably, or the 1390s. That was when Richard II was on the throne in England.
This spoon is English and is very rare, known as a diamond point spoon with a gilded diamond point. Despite its age and rarity, the spoon has been restored, with the bowl being thin and cracked on both sides, filled with silver solder. A similar spoon sold in London for a large sum, but in better condition. At auction, our guest spoon can easily fetch at a value of
$10,000 and $20,000.
Wow.
The one in London made $40,000.
Wow.
The guest brought a picture and a pin that belonged to her great-great-great-grandfather, who served in the 69th Regiment of New York during the Civil War. This pin is inscribed, making it a unique piece, and it is also a nice example of a Corps badge. The Civil War pin represents the 2nd Corps that the 69th New York was in. As a part of the Irish Brigade, this is a pretty high-end pin. An average Civil War badge might cost about $400 to $500.
If you have one that's engraved with an individual's name, they can easily get around $1,000.
But these items, with their attribution to an individual in the 69th New York and the accompanying photograph, will be worth
easily a $2,000 set.
You're kidding.
That's the case.
Wow, that's great.
The guitar, a Martin D18, is the guest's husband's prized possession, purchased around 20 to 25 years ago from a friend who needed money. Initially bought for around $150, the husband later paid the friend a couple $100 more after realizing its true value through research. The guitar is a 37 model, identified by the stamp C.F. Martin on the peghead.
It's stamped C.F. Martin. They only did that on this model of guitar.
Made in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, the guitar features a mahogany neck, back, and sides, with some tuners recently replaced. Despite natural wear from use, the guitar is considered in great condition.
It has the original bridge, which is really very nice. Usually the bridge has been replaced by this point. This is ebony. This is ebony. The top is Adirondack spruce.
The guitar's value has been appraised at...
This guitar would be valued at $30,000 and $35,000.
Great. Made me a believer.
This item is a silver menorah presented by this guest.
And this has been in my family since my grandparents have passed down to my father.
This particular menorah is crafted from silver and features a slim crescent and crown, which are hallmarks of German silver.
This is an olive oil burning menorah. We also have candle burning menorahs. Now, if I turn it around, we're going to find a mark.
The menorah lacks a maker's mark, suggesting it was handmade and likely created around the turn of the 20th century. As seen, this piece is rich in design, reflecting various artistic influences. Also, it includes heraldic lions holding the tablets of the laws, representing Jewish iconography, while also incorporating Gothic revival arches, Baroque scroll flourishes, floral motifs, and elements of archaeological revival. Additionally, the crowned lions, which serve as the candle holders, add to its intrigue. In today's market, this rare and historically rich menorah would auction for...
At a retail level, I would give this an estimate of $4,000 to $6,000.
That's amazing.
This vintage painting is a masterpiece of nostalgia and charm. It was inherited by the guest through her stepmother's estate. This fantastic piece of art was created by Edward Simmons. Simmons was an American Impressionist painter, remembered for his mural work.
In looking up his records, he's only had about 50 paintings that have come up over the last 20 years or so. So it makes them very rare.
The painting is dated 1883, and Simmons's signature is visible at the bottom of the piece. Depicted in the painting is a scenery of a church on a hillside with lush greenery and the sky.
Beautiful light in the sky. He's really trying to capture the essence and the atmosphere of that place. So it's a beautiful little painting.
It also boasts a gold-painted wooden frame. This painting is in very good condition and is also a testament to the skills of the painter. At auction, it is estimated to be worth...
Put it in auction, I put an estimate of $20,000 to $30,000 on it.
That's very nice.
Years ago, the guest met the incredible Maya Angelou in Winston-Salem and learned she lived in North Carolina and worked at Wake Forest University. He had admired her since college for her poem Phenomenal Woman, and his wife is also a huge fan. There was an auction of Maya's estate in Kernersville, North Carolina, While browsing the auction guide, our guest saw a Spingarn Award.
Well, my mom went to Spingarn High School in Washington, D.C. She was the first graduating class.
The first recipient of this award was Dr. Ernest Everett Just, the guest fraternity founder. The NAACP's Spingarn Award honors the prominent African Americans like Oprah Winfrey, Martin Luther King, and Jackie Robinson. He didn't attend the auction because his father was sick, so his friend bought one award for $1,100 and the other for $80. The expert believes in today's market the $80 award could be worth,
so, you know, for an auction estimate on the walk-around,
wow,
about $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow, for the walk-around?
For the walk-around.
Okay.
The value of the $1,100 award is,
I wouldn't be surprised to see it go in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
As guest wants to insure, insurance value of both awards is $55,000. We are presented with a pocket watch dating back to the 1860s to 1870s, which the guest found in a filing cabinet his wife had bought. An 18-karat gold watch featuring an incredibly detailed dial,
which is one of the characteristics with its multicolored gold dial,
and a highly decorated case extending to the edges and bands. This particular item was signed by George Reynolds from Liverpool. The case of this watch is Swiss-made and also has engine turning on the reverse. Despite its age, the condition of this pocket watch is better than others we've seen. The mechanism of this pocket watch is a bit different from others, considering it was made in the 18th century.
it actually comes through the front. So the front hinges up in this way, and this is how you set the hands.
This beautiful, unique, open-faced pocket watch, featuring unusual hands and a dust cover on the inside.
I think at auction a watch like this is going to sell for about $2,500.
Oh, that's nice.
Our guest husband purchased the guitar, a 1964 ES330, in June of 1964 and owned it until his passing in 1989. The guitar is a thin-body ES330 known for its lightweight and easy playability.
Being this thin, hollow body style, it's one that was very popular by...
Despite its popularity, the guitar is not suitable for playing loudly due to feedback issues at higher volumes. This model was introduced in 1959, and in 1962 a chrome pick cover was added, which is present on this guitar. The serial number confirms the guitar's 1964 production year, and all components are original and well maintained, with some minor wear on the neck from playing. A guitar like this would retail for a value of...
Retail around $4,900. So just a little under $5,000. Right. So...
Our guest inherited a vest chain from her late husband, who likely acquired it from his father, who came from England in 1920. The chain is made of 14-karat gold, which is currently valued at around $1,200 an ounce. Despite its English origins, the chain is actually American, dating back to the late Victorian era. This chain features a locket with a crystal, which would typically hold a pressed 4-leaf clover for good luck. The rest of the chain is made up of fancy links and was used to hold a pocket watch.
This part was the watch fob. The fob is what hung outside of the vest of the man's suit, and that's what they showed off.
Appraiser notes that antique vest chains are highly desirable and difficult to find, especially with such beautiful links. The appraiser demonstrates that the chain can be converted into a necklace.
Ladies love men's antique vest chains to wear as a beautiful old gold necklace.
The retail value of the chain as a necklace is estimated to be at...
In retail value, it's between $4,000 and $5,000 for this necklace.
Are you serious?
Our guest has a letter from Robert E. Lee to their great-great-great-grandfather, Charles Minigrode, who was the rector of St. Paul's Church in Richmond during the Civil War. Charles Minigrode, originally from Germany, is credited with introducing the tradition of the indoor Christmas tree in Williamsburg. The letter, dated 1864, thanks Charles Minigrode for contributing money to help with amputees.
But they also had a lot of wounded soldiers.
Our guest's father took the letter to the Museum of the Confederacy to have it reframed and remounted. The museum verified Lee's contribution mentioned in the letter. The appraiser notes that the letter is a personal correspondence showing the humanity of both Lee and...
And then, talking about something that, again, gets into the suffering, the hardships of war.
This signature of Lee on the letter is considered beautiful and adds to its value. A conservative retail estimate for the letter would be in the range of...
A conservative retail would be in the $3,000 to $5,000 range of this.
Well, don't tell my family, because I think they will never see it again. I'll probably...
The guest presented Christmas gifts given to her by her husband on today's show. These are French art glass vases made by Auguste Legras, an artist from the renowned Legras family. These vases are signed by Legras and were crafted a bit earlier, around 1909 to 1910. Made from quality cameo glass with intricate designs, these vases feature a pale peach plaque body overlaid with horse chestnut branches. Despite being old, these vases made with high-quality cameo glass mounted on gilt metal have a price value of...
At auction, they would sell between $500 and $800. Really? Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. Cool.
The guest's father, a junk collector, found this bell in a junk pile in Winsboro, Louisiana. This is a bell made out of bronze. It has a mark indicating the Buckeye Bell Foundry made by the Van Dusen and Tift Company in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1884. This company has trade publications that help us understand the cost and purpose of the products they made. This bell is quite large and heavy, weighing 100 pounds, and based on their catalog, this bell is the largest of its type, made for use in schoolhouses and public buildings. This heavy bronze bell, with its large scale, would cost about...
In today's market at between $4,000 and $6,000.
Between $4,000 and $6,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Our guest acquired autographs of famous actors like Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi, and Elsa Lanchester from various dealers in the early 1980s, paying around $2 to $2.25 each. Lon Chaney's autograph, known as the Man of 1,000 Faces, is considered extremely rare. Even though the photo itself is not signed, the autograph alone could fetch $500 to $700 at auction. If the image were signed, it could go for $1,000 to $1,500. Bela Lugosi's autograph is also highly sought after, with an estimated value of about $1,500 at auction. Elsa Lanchester, known for her role as the Bride of Frankenstein.
Here you're looking at about $300 to $500.
An 8x10 photo signed by multiple actors from the movie House of Dracula is estimated to be worth around...
Here you're looking at about $200 to $400.
Okay.
Wow. So, yes?
On today's show, the guest presented a woodblock print inherited from their parents. This is an original woodblock print dating back 529 years. Depicting a bird's-eye view of the city of Nuremberg, this piece was printed in 1493. Hartmann Schadel, a German historian and one of the first cartographers to use a printing press,
and he put together the Nuremberg Chronicle. It was issued in 1493. It was a compendium, it was a religious book, but there was also a historical aspect to it, which was unusual for the time.
In prints like these, the quality of the lines is crucial, and this one showcases a beautifully sharp woodblock print indicating its quality.
Anything that of this size and quality was incredibly hard to make, and it would have been hundreds of artisans working together to produce something so beautiful.
It's noteworthy that this print is in color, which is unusual for Nuremberg Chronicles prints, typically in black and white. The coloring is special and original, applied by hand with gouache and watercolor. This print more than meets the eye with an interesting backstory. Having endured for so many years and still in good condition, this colored print without fading will be valued at...
I would put a retail value on it of about $2,000.
Wonderful.
We have here a bronze ewer inherited by this guest from her great-great-grandmother.
It's just kind of been passed down in the family. Nobody knew that much about it.
A striking characteristic of this item is its unusually large size. Although large, it's surprisingly light because it was crafted from two types of metals, bronze and a high copper content. The ewer boasts beautiful repoussé decorations and has semi-precious stones inlaid on its surface.
And also with semi-precious stones, in this case turquoise.
Additionally, the piece features an elaborate handle made in the form of a dragon with figures on the body. We can discern that this item originated from the Himalayan region and was made circa the mid to late 19th century. The purpose of this ewer was liquid storage, especially for occasional settings. At auction, this piece, being a part of Himalayan heritage and culture, would be valued at...
Conservatively, one could say $5,000 to $8,000 at auction.
Oh, wow.
Our guests received original sketches by Edith Head as a birthday present from their sister, who got them from a friend, giving them away. The sketches are glamorous designs for movie stars of the 1950s, including Mary Martin, Barbara Stanwyck, and Betty Hutton, all signed by Edith Head. Edith Head was a premier couturier for the studio during that period.
They are glamorous sketches for varying movie stars of the 1950s.
Each sketch has details such as the signature of the approval of the director and the overall cost of the garment, ranging from $329 to $611 in 1949. Our guest thought the sketches might be worth $150 to $200 each, but learns from the appraiser that they are valued at...
worth $1,100 to $1,200 a piece.
What?
That's correct.
Really?
Chinese paintings are known for their narrative style, featuring some figure represented in different poses. The guest brought in a 17th century Korean court screen originally belonging to her husband's uncle. This painting features the figure of Ji Wangmu from Chinese mythology.
She was sort of the leader of the immortals, which is this heavenly band of deities in Chinese mythology.
Looking closely, you can see gold decorations on her robe, which is beautifully painted with characteristic designs. Although this item is lifting from the paper and the wooden background is already showing signs of wear, even pigments are starting to lift from the silk surface. Regardless, the quality is superb. This is a banquet scene, a rare depiction that suggests anyone who had it must have been quite wealthy back in the day. At auction, this beautiful banquet scene with colorful paintings and an attached story will be worth...
The value of this has to be in the $30,000 to $50,000 range, as it is now.
Oh my goodness.
Behold, an exquisite piece from the 1960s.
Well, it is a most unusual dress from the swinging 60s.
This light-up dress was designed by the American fashion designer Diana Dew, who is recognized in the 1960s for pioneering electric clothes.
And Diana had studied fashion and also studied to be an engineer.
What sets this piece apart is its innovative design and unique functionality. This particular dress features a cadmium battery pack that powers a light-up heart capable of lasting up to 5 hours per wearing. The heart's lighting could be adjusted for intensity and flashing effects. Also, the battery pack was designed to be worn around the waist, concealed under the dress. Additionally, the bottom button of the dress also contained a battery pack and would spin in time with the music, creating a dynamic visual effect. This dress, due to its rarity and the innovative fusion of fashion and technology, is valued at...
A retail estimate for something like this, because of its rarity, would be between $2,000 and $2,500 in the current market.
Well, thank you.
The appraiser remarked on the near-perfect condition of the item. It has remained well preserved for about 160 years. The piece featured intricate hand-carving and Mediterranean coral, showcasing the exceptional skill of Italian jewelers from the 1850s to 1870s period. The appraiser emphasized the rarity of finding such complete pieces with great detail. He estimated the value of the suite to be between...
A suite like this would be somewhere in the $7,000 to $8,000 range.
The guest presented a couple of watercolor prints that he had purchased at a book sale for their frames, paying $5 apiece. The appraiser identified the prints as the work of Italian artist Alghero Boetti, born in 1940. Boetti was initially associated with the Arte Povera movement in the 1960s, but distanced himself from the group in the 1970s. He spent significant time in Kabul, where he was introduced to traditional embroidery, aligning with his interest in patterns, recurring themes, and structures. This interest is evident in his use of repeated letters in the prints. Boati explored the relationship between order and disorder, often creating configurations of letters or numbers that sometimes made sense and other times did not. These prints were pochoirs, a process allowing for unique hand coloring in each print, and are numbered 14 out of 40 from a larger set of 9. The appraiser estimated the auction value of the two prints to be between,
and for the two prints, I would put an auction estimate of $5,000 to $8,000 on these prints.
Wow.
If the guest had the entire set of 9 prints, it could sell for $30,000 to $40,000 at auction.